Hello, I'm Professor Kino, and welcome to my Office of Cinematic Antiquity. Today we will be continuing the series of my top 10 favorite films. Coming in at number 3 is Martin McDonagh, now widely known for his Academy Award-nominated film Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, began his career as a playwright. Starting in 1996 until his first feature-length film, McDonagh wrote 6 extremely well-received plays: The Beauty Queen of Lenan, A Skull in Connemara, The Lonesome West, The Cripple of Inishmaan, The Lieutenant of Inishmore, and The Pillowman. In other words, McDonagh's career was on the up and up before he delved into the field of cinema with his first feature-length film in 2008, In Bruges. McDonagh, finding himself in the Belgian city while trying to meet up with a girl, was awestruck by Bruges' beauty. While the girl did eventually call him to cancel their date, he wasn't too perturbed because it gave him time to wander the streets of the small city. It captivated him. Its picturesque setting and its lovely little museums are like something out of a fairy tale. Nonetheless, despite his adoration of the city's history and storybook charm, he quickly found the city to be too quiet, and he became a little bored. And it was at this moment that inspiration struck him. What if there was a character that, for some reason, was stuck against his will in this picturesque city, but he can't leave? And he hates it because it bores him to death. And thus, the 2008 film In Bruges was conceived. Premise: after 2 hitmen botch a job, their boss sends them to the quiet medieval city of Bruges, where they were told to await further instructions. As the time passes, both hitmen are forced to come to terms with their failed hit, as well as their troubled pasts. Writing: in its simplest form, In Bruges is a drama mixed with a black comedy, or a film that deals with a dark subject matter with gallows humor. And the subject matter of this film is guilt and the judgment that we think we deserve. The character Ray is the focal point of the film. After being ordered by his boss Harry to kill a business threat, Ray messes up and accidentally kills a little boy in the crossfire. This action haunts Ray, and the film deals with him stuck in a sort of purgatory where he is forced to come to terms with his crime and face judgment.
And Ray, you'll be a dead man.
I don't want to be a dead man. Said you've been missing something.
You don't want to be a dead man, Ray.
I can't. I killed a little boy.
The writing of the film itself is filled with odd characters and unlikely events, but they are written in such a way that their strangeness feels natural to the film, because in the end, they all play a part in determining Ray's final judgment. First is the setting. Bruges is a quiet, beautiful, but very slow city that does not really seem to be going anywhere or doing anything. It is stuck in a sort of stasis or limbo, and this is because it is supposed to be, in the context of the film, purgatory, the location where unclean but not wholly unsalvageable souls go to await their final judgment.
Purgatory. Purgatory's kind of like the in-betweeny one. You weren't really shit, but you weren't all that great either. Like Tottenham.
The 2 other main characters, Ray's friend and colleague Ken and their boss Harry, are there to present Ray's 2 potential judgments to the audience. Ken brought Ray into the business of being a hitman, so he feels guilty for putting Ray in the situation he's in. While Ray struggles with his guilt, Ken is there to support him and keep him away from doing anything rash.
I will always have killed that little boy. That ain't ever going away. Ever. Unless... maybe I go away. Don't even think like that.
Ken even tries to set Ray free by sending him away from Bruges, by saving him from purgatory and potential damnation. In other words, Ken is an angel, or perhaps even God himself. He sees the pain and guilt in Ray's eyes and soul, and Ken wants to forgive him. Ken, God, thinks that he deserves a second chance and the opportunity to change and do something good with his life.
The boy has the capacity to change. The boy has the capacity to do something decent with his life.
Harry, on the other hand, is less forgiving. He is very strict in his morals and ideology, and he believes there is no way that Ray could be forgiven for what he did. Harry wants to kill Ray to damn him because he believes that it is the only judgment for Ray's crime. Harry represents a demon, or Satan.
Listen, I like Ray, he was a good bloke, but when it all comes down to it, you know, he blew the head off a little fucking kid, and you brought him in, Ken. So if the buck don't stop with him, where does it stop?
The core of the film is this clash between these 2 strict ideologies of good and evil, between God and Satan, for the soul and judgment of a sinner. and over the course of this clash, there was a plethora of visual cues and intriguing events that all put the story's focus on this conflict. From the foreshadowing of a confrontation between two predetermined sides.
It's gonna be a war, man. I can see it. There's gonna be a war between the blacks and between the whites. You ain't even gonna need a uniform no more. This ain't gonna be a war where you pick your side. Your side's already picked for you.
Well, I know whose side I'm fighting on. Fighting with the blacks. Whites are gonna get their heads kicked in.
You don't decide this shit, man.
To the continuous use of churches, religious architecture, and holy relics.
Up there, the top altar, is a phial brought back by a Flemish knight from the Crusades in the Holy Land. And that phial, do you know what it's said to contain?
No, what's it said to contain?
It's said to contain some drops of Jesus Christ's blood.
To the use of the imagery of Hieronymus Bosch, a painter known for his dark paintings about sin, heaven, hell, and judgment, most notably his painting aptly titled The Last Judgment.
Yes. Judgment Day, you know?
And after all of this builds up, there is, as it was foreshadowed, a confrontation between Ken and Harry over the fate of Ray. Ray is eventually chased by Harry through the streets of Bruges and into a live recreation of Bosch's The Last Judgment, signifying that it is time for Ray to be judged. Here, Ray confronts his crime and is shot by Harry. As the movie comes to a close, Ray is brought into an ambulance and he accepts his fate fully and truly. Whether his soul is saved and is being transported to heaven, or has been damned and is being sent to hell, is purposefully not answered because that is up to the audience to decide. In the end, the film asks its viewers a deep and personal question. Does everyone deserve a second chance, or are there some crimes that are beyond forgiveness?
There's a Christmas tree somewhere in London with a bunch of presents underneath it that'll never be opened. And I thought, if I survive all this, I'll go to that house, apologise to the mother there, and accept whatever punishment she chose for me. Prison, death, it didn't matter. Because at least in prison and at least in death, you know, I wouldn't be in fucking Bruges.
Acting. Ray is played by Colin Farrell, and he is excellent in playing someone who is haunted and deeply bothered by something, to the point that he becomes both standoffish and empathetic. It is not easy to get the audience to sympathize with a child murderer, but thanks in part due to Farrell's performance, he is just that. He is not a bad man deep down, just a young and stupid kid who did not think about the repercussions of his actions until they were past.
I'm not being funny, we can't stay here.
We've got to stay here until he rings.
Well, what if he doesn't ring for 2 weeks?
Then we stay here for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks? In fucking Bruges? In a room like this? With you? No way.
Ray, I really don't like to say this.
You really don't like to say what?
Well, you know.
Fucking bring that up.
Ken is played by Brendan Gleeson, and he is also very good. You can tell that he is troubled by his past and the things that he has done, but also that he has accepted them as part of who he is. He plays a character that is like something Ray might end up being if he makes it through his guilt, and this is the reason that Ken is so sympathetic to Ray. He sees Ray as a reflection of himself, and Gleeson plays that role of a wise, relatable, and forgiving mentor perfectly.
Hey, Jimmy. My wife was black. And I loved her very much. And in 1976, she was murdered by a white man. So, where the fuck am I supposed to stand in all this blood and carnage?
And Harry is played by Ray Fiennes, and just like Farrell and Gleeson, he is excellent. He is not in the movie as much as Farrell and Gleeson, but when Fiennes is on screen, he steals the show. He is menacing and villainous, but strangely in an understandable way. He is all about honor and sticking to your morals, and Fiennes shows off this beautifully. But moreover, he is hysterical, but not to the point of losing his menacing persona. And to be able to accomplish that is remarkable on Fiennes' part.
Why would anybody have to go to Belgium?
So I've got to sort something out.
Is it something to do with the phone?
It's something to do with Ken. It's a matter of honour.
Well, ain't going to be dangerous, is it?
Well, of course it's going to be dangerous if it's a matter of fucking honour.
Costumes, hair, and makeup. There isn't really anything to report here. No one is decked out in standout makeup, and everyone is just wearing everyday clothes. Set design. Bruges is the perfect setting for this film. Being such a mystical, small, quiet city filled with little churches, Flemish religious artwork, and old buildings, it is the ideal backdrop to a conflict about good and evil. But I do not really think there's much else to talk about here because no sets were actually made for the film, besides those that had to be recreated from Bruges because of filming restrictions, i.e. the inside of the bell tower. Nothing is crafted to fit the film. All of the places are real places, and the film is merely filmed within them. However, it is hard to picture this film being set in any other city, and for that, the set design is perfect. Choreography. When it comes to action, there was a bit of gunplay and a couple of quick scuffles. None of them are entirely stand out, but they are all helmed competently. However, I do want to give one shout out to the final chase sequence because, having been to Bruges myself, the path that Ray takes is accurate to the exact path that you would take to get from where he started to his destination. I just know that some films that are shot on location jump around the city or town during a chase so that it would be impossible to recreate it in real life. The chase in Bruges, however, is totally doable in real life if your heart desired, and I think that is fantastic. Cinematography. Everything is competent and understandable, and that is perfectly acceptable. The cinematography does a great job at showing off the film's desired emotional effect, but it is very subtle. Don't go into this film expecting something groundbreaking in the cinematography department, because the point of the film is not mesmerizing visuals. The focus is instead placed on the writing and the acting, and that is excellent, because those are the two aspects that really are the core of the film. Editing. I find the editing competent as well in this film. Conversations are handled in the standard way, there are no jump cuts or quick edits, and everything that is on screen is easy to understand. When action does happen, however, the edits get more fast-paced, which just adds to the exhilaration of the scene. In the end, nothing spectacular, but perfectly suitable for the film. CGI. There is no CGI in this film, at least any that I could pick out. Music. The score by Carter Burwell is very good. The whole thing feels somber and contemplative, a reflection of the film's feelings of purgatory. It sounds sad, calm, anxious, haunting, and beautiful all at once. It does a wonderful job at capturing the feeling of the unknown and uncertainty of Ray's fate. And as for the licensed songs, they are equally great at capturing this feeling. Der Lehrmann captures the same sensation beautifully. St. John the Gambler deals with putting one's soul's fate up to chance.
But I've given my soul to St. John the Gambler. Tomorrow comes time to leave.
And On Raglan Road covers the idea of doing something despite knowing deep down that it would lead to regret later in life, such as for Ray and Ken starting their professions as hitmen.
I saw her first and knew that her dark hair would weave a snare, that I might one day rue.
Direction. Despite not being very standout with regards to choreography, cinematography, costumes, and editing, the film is not harmed because of it. It is not a story on an epic scale, it is a very personal and individual piece about one man's struggle with guilt. There is no need for crazy action pieces or mind-boggling imagery. Instead, McDonough focused on the strengths of what he was trying to achieve, the acting, the writing, the symbolism, and the music, in order to present the story in the best manner possible. And in the end, In Bruges is a brilliant piece of cinema that tells a unique tale that can make you laugh, gasp, and think, all at the same time. My enjoyment. What exactly makes In Bruges my number 3 favorite film? It's a hard question to answer. The film is quotable, hilarious, dark, original, and deep. Mostly, however, I think I loved this film because of when I saw it in my life. I remember the power was out in my house and my dad just had a little bit of juice left in his laptop. Seeing that I was bored, he decided to put off his work and play this movie for us instead. And I remember just falling in love with it. I laughed hard, which is admittedly an uncommon occurrence for me when watching a movie, and from that moment on, I knew this film was something special, and I have loved it ever since, so much so that I even took a trip to Belgium specifically to visit Bruges for a few days. Recommendations. This film is definitely not for everyone, and I mean that. If you are against swearing, avoid this film like the plague, because it literally takes a minute and a half of playing all the film's swears back to back in order to cover them all.
Bruges and Bruges?
Fucking Bruges. Fuck off, are we?
Fucked. Fucking kill.
Fucking hell to pay, I'm fucking telling you.
Fucking.
You shut your fucking mouth, please. Bruges.
Bruges.
Bruges. Fucking retarded. Fucking.
Also, if a film that tries to make you feel sympathy for a man who killed a child does not sound like your cup of tea, then this is also probably not the film for you. However, if you're fine with both of those and want to see a film with great acting, a perfect score, and a solid and unique story that feels completely original, then give In Bruges a shot. Who knows, you might fall in love with it as much as I did.
There are a lot of alcoves in the Koningin Astrid Park. You use this word, alcoves?
Alcoves, yes. Sometimes.
There are not many people around in these alcoves in Christmas time. If I were to murder a man, I would murder him here. Are you sure this is the right word, alcoves?
Alcoves, yes. Kind of like nooks and crannies.
Nooks and crannies, yes. Perhaps this would be more accurate. Nooks and crannies rather than alcoves. Yeah.
The alcoves.
What's he going on to you about the alcoves?
The alcoves in the Koningin Astrid Park.
Thanks for watching, I hope you liked it. If you did, leave a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe. I will be continuing the list of my top 10 favorite films in my next video. Until then, I am Professor Kino, and I look forward to our next discussion.